Vincent, that didn't stick very long. Let's talk about how you got the call sign Lucky.
Okay, yeah, I was only Vincent for a hot minute.
Yeah.
And then one day down in Kandahar, we were doing a move because we weren't on CAF, which is Kandahar Airfield, where the military are. We had to move some people to the airfield, and on the way, my vehicle got rammed by a suicide bomber driving a car loaded with explosives, which we know in our terminology as VBID, or Vehicle-Borne Improvised Explosive Device.
I remember when that happened. I just showed up to Kandahar. We were actually just looking at one of my platoon plaques. My first combat deployment was SEAL Team 2. We show up. One of the first things that we get is a brief on what had happened, I believe at the time was yesterday. And they show us this nice SUV, which was nice, and then they showed us what it looked like now after you got hit with a car bomb. And you and everybody in that car survived that.
Yeah, we got out alive.
Why don't you walk us through a little bit about what's it like to go flying through the air in a armored SUV in one of the most dangerous provinces in Afghanistan?
Well, it was interesting to say the least. We did have our escorts with us, which are the locals that we basically hire and train up and turn them into professionals. And coincidentally, I had them out on the range doing what any good SF guy would do, which is train them up, make sure they're proficient. And we were doing movement to contact drills in vehicles. So here we are driving down the road now, and this dude rams into the side of the vehicle, blows us up. We roll over, we land first on my side, then we went to the roof, which had a sunroof. I don't know why, because you couldn't reach it. There was armor on the roof as well, but that made the most horrible sound that I'll never forget as the glass shattered and drug along the metal of the roof as we were sliding on the roof. Then, of course, we ended up on the passenger side, perched on the passenger side, facing 180 degrees from our original direction of travel.
I can't get over that you actually survived that, because I mean, when I got into country, it was right after Red Wing had happened.
Yeah.
Got some briefings up north there. Then we moved down to Kandahar, to the agency base. I saw that car thinking, holy shit, shit's getting real fucking real fast. And I can't believe anybody walked out of that car. Were you out of it for any amount of time after that had happened? I mean, were you conscious?
So when the car got hit, this was actually a very new, I won't say the brand because the agency doesn't like that, but it was an SUV, very, very new, low miles. And when we got hit, it was very well armored. So the pressure literally forced everything tight into a box, and we felt next to nothing. However, when you slam onto one side, roll onto the roof, spin around, and end up on the other side, which, by the way, during that, the window did what it was designed to do, which is fall out onto the ground. Now we got flames coming in there with us as well. But up until that moment, we were sealed. We were very, very well protected inside. So the real damage came from the things that we had inside, like weapons, personal belonging, equipment in the car. During that rollover, that shit was flying around in there. So people got hit by the debris that was stowed nicely and secured for what we thought was fine at the time. We made some changes after that. But the only real injuries was the people that got hit by things flying around in the car.
So it was nothing serious at all?
No, yeah, just some bumps, bruises, some stitches. I think there was maybe one cracked rib. I honestly had not a scratch on me, which is why they're put out a worldwide communication saying this person, who of course was me, just not my actual name, was from that moment on, call sign Lucky.
Wow. And that stuck with you for a very long time.
Till I got shot in the head.
Sometimes people see these cars coming, a car bomb, motorcycle bomb, whatever. Sometimes they know it's about to happen, sometimes they don't. Mm-hmm. I guess maybe that probably has something to do with how heads up you are on the road. Did you know what was about to happen, or did it take you completely by surprise?
So I actually saw the dude because he tried to pull out in between. I was the follow vehicle.
Did you guys make eye-to-eye contact?
Yeah, I literally looked right at this dude and tapped my horn because I thought he was just another Afghan trying to pull out because he thought it was clear, and we really didn't want him in between us because once we hit the edge of town, we were going to be hauling ass with a nice loose follow, but we didn't want to have that other vehicle. I mean, it was just more of a convenience thing than anything else. So he had pulled off to the side of the road, complying with our lead vehicle, which was the local's gun truck. So everybody's, everything was pretty cool. But when he started to nudge forward like he was going to pull out, I tapped the horn twice, and he looked right at me, and he gave me one of them really standard patented Afghan bows in the hand up like, oh, I'm sorry. If you've worked in that environment, you've seen it a million times because there's people everywhere you go. And then when we went by him, lo and behold, this dude driving this just piece of crap car, which again, you see all over there, he didn't give me any indication that he was a threat. I did see him. He looked right at me. I looked right at him, and I was like, cool. He was cool. And then he freaking rams us and blows us up. It's like, okay.
So he didn't show any, none of the typical signs, he wasn't nervous, wasn't sweating, none of that shit.
Nope.
He just...
Because I saw him clear as day. The car wasn't like all weighted funny on one side. It was masked very well because I was aware of the threats and I was looking for the threats, and he got one by and bam.